start from now on. I'm recording the feedback and then I'll post it on the YouTube the next day. I almost forgot. Yeah, do you have the so I mean, do you have the whole beat? Do you have all of the stems available? And also, is this the mix? Like is it so is it still a mix? Okay, so you don't have stems. All right. We can still work with this. And then the mix is like this is the mix. I've put everything together, and then the master is it is done. This is what is going out. I have achieved maximum loudness and balance, etc., etc. They're kind of like two separate processes, and we would want to address them separately. All right. So I think this is I can talk specifically about like what is going on this track, which I think is nice. But there's kind of what I you have like entered into the workflow stream, and I am a really, really big nerd about how we complete tasks and how we go about it. So just like, and again, I don't want to sound, it's, I'm on a microphone, I have a camera on me, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not like actually having a conversation with a human. So if it sounds condescending, which sometimes it does, I really don't mean it this way. I just kind of start from the very, very basics and move forward. And you're new to the stream, and then you'll eventually go like, oh yeah, that's just how he talks. Um, so you've got friends who made the beat and the track, and you did the vocal. If you are mixing the vocal in kind of a vacuum and it's not in relation to elements of the beat, then you're going to get results that are just not quite 100% in. You're just you want to be able to address like the individual elements, the individual stems, and then balance the vocal against those. And then you're going to be able to get a more a fuller sound, a bigger sound, a wider sound, etc., etc. So right there is a thing that is gonna be an issue on this production, and maybe you'll be able to go and like bring some stuff to friends, and if not, we're gonna have to address it like on the mix down of the beat, which is still possible, just not as great. And then the other thing is like mastering this. So like where this is at is basically this already has a limiter on it. So if you're mixing into the limiter, then you're already running into some issues. And also, it looks like the ceiling is at -1, but you're not using a true peak limiter at -1, which also looks like how loud should I make things for Spotify, which is not what people are doing in the pro world. It's generally louder than those Spotify guidelines. Um, but this has the issue of it's mostly a ceiling at -1, but it is still clipping sometimes. So we've got a couple of like little micro clips like here and there throughout the thing. So like if this was the mix, I would go like we would want to leave a little more headroom. But if this is the master, it's like we need to use a better limiter. So if it's in this in between world, it's hard to say which one of those is the thing to do. Okay, which is why we want to go like when we're doing like our own productions and we're doing stuff on our own, we really want to give ourselves the benefit of kind of treating ourselves like a client or treating ourselves seriously and going like I am mixing, I am mastering, and they're separate things. Because right now we've got like a technical issue that would be addressed in whichever stage of production it's actually in. And that sounds I mean, the true peak limiter would have to. So, like, that's the thing. We want to think of this as a whole, like, not just like the beat and the vocal. And, like, ideally, there wouldn't be a limiter on either of those elements right now. Like, the limiter goes on everything as a whole. It goes on the song, not on the beat, not on the vocal. I don't I really don't like using like limiters on individual elements unless it's like an extreme circumstance. I kind of hate ceilings. I don't like restricting dynamic range. I like things to like actually pump and breathe. That is what I recommend, etc., etc., etc. Um, so yeah, true peak limiter would be on the master of the whole thing in a separate session to master the track. Now, as far as the mix, basically, what's up? I was doing good, now I'm fucked in the queue. Got my heart broke. Okay, so 808s just slammed between 30 and 60, and then like no bass. So what you got to do is think of like everything below 100 and definitely below 60 is sub, and bass is living from like 90 to 200, 80 to 200, 100 to 200. That's bass. And there's just very, very little bass in this. And it's not going to translate. It's going to sound really, really thin and really mid rangey on most playback devices. Yeah, that's all now. Tell me what's the plan, 'cause I don't fucking miss you. Yeah, I act like a reject. Must have been a defect. Let's just see what's happening. Okay, so there is bass there, and it's not uh the lack of bass. Well, it depends. Did you EQ the track? Basically, it's like, if you just had to do this on the 2 track, I would pull back info from 30 to 60, just about like 3 dB. I would cut, and then I would boost 2 to 3 dB from 100 to 200. Because it's pretty clean. There's just a little bit of kick transient and some bass in that 100 to 200 region. There's just not nearly enough bass on the track as a whole. And then as far as this limiter issue, like if you put a limiter on the master and it's clipping and it's tuned in this weird place, and that would be on you, and you would have to fix that up. But then the mid range is nice and the top end is nice. So we've just got this kind of low end issue, and again, it's going to make it sound a little bit thin. And then just let me show you. I'm going to dive in to the track and kind of talk about just getting this a little bit cleaner, or like bigger, not cleaner, nastier, bassier. Okay, so like if I was mastering this, this is what I would do. And again, so we've got this issue. I waste all my time thinking about in life, ayy. Stab me in the back, thinking suicide. I try to live, okay, but I think I wanna die now. It's got my wrist is dead, yeah, I think I got my heart broke. Tell me what's the so it's occasionally clipping. So we would want to dial back the limiter or use a better limiter. And like, because it's like in this muddy zone of like, is it a mix or a master? We would have to get a little bit, like, I don't love doing this, but basically I'm just going to gain this down to have a little bit of room. But ideally, it would just have a little more headroom within the mixed stage. And then it would go in for mastering with more headroom, and then it could get raised up. But, like, let's just start and dial this back a little bit. Because it's also not crushed to death, which is great. But it's in this, like, it's not crushed to death, but it's also not clean dynamically. So it's in, like, kind of a twilight zone, but it's still workable. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up stuff below, like, 20 hertz. Okay, and I'm going to pull back on the extreme low end. And we're not going to miss it in the end. And it would be much cleaner if I wasn't doing this on the master, but we would want to address this sub-region. But we'll fix that in a minute. And the vocals sound very good, you know, and that's you, so that's great. And I can't see chat when I do this, so if anything's happening, I apologize. Okay, so I'm going to use a Pultec, which has a little bit of vibe, and I'm going to focus on 100. There's bass. Like, that's where we actually have bass. Shine it up.
I'm looking at the rear view. One life, yeah, I know I should continue.
And then as far as like how loud this could actually be.
I waste all my time thinking about a knife, ayy. Stab me in the back, thinking suicide, I try to live, but I think I wanna die now. Cut my wrist instead, yeah, I think I got my heart broke. Tell me what's the meaning of a letter to you. I was doing good, now I'm fucked in the queue. Got my heart broke, yeah, that's old news. Tell me what's the plan, cause I don't fucking miss you. Yeah. Fucking miss you. Yeah.
You've got a funny crossfade right at the end there. It's probably the vocal. I would just clean that up. We can hear it. Click.
Yeah.
Right there. Clean that up.
Waste all my time thinking about a knife, ayy. Stab me in the back, thinking suicide, I try to live, but I think I wanna die now. Cut my wrist instead, yeah, I think I got my heart broke. Tell me what's the meaning of a letter to you. I was doing good, now I'm fucked in the queue. Got my heart broke, yeah, that's old news. Tell me what's the plan, cause I don't fucking miss you. Yeah.
Let's see. Sarvesh, if you want to send something in, I can definitely take a listen. Yeah, it doesn't matter what DAW you're on. If you're on FL, you can still address the fact that there's too much low end from 30 to 60 and not enough from 100 to 200. Any EQ will do. Um, am I gonna send me this out again? By the way, I don't really know what that means. Um, yeah, and that USB mic, it's treating you absolutely fine. The vocals sound great. That's not the issue here. It's like mostly what I addressed was like, I kind of walked through it, cleaned up the low end a little bit, brought low end out, added some shine at like 1.5K, and then I'll be posting this video on the A Ton of Streaming YouTube tomorrow. Hell yeah. Those headphones and bed sheets are absolutely doing it. Um, the if you want like this file back, I can uh subscribers to the channel, I'll send like a snippet for a reference of if I do something like that. You can also send something in for Mastering Monday, which is 1 track per person to get a full track. And then also, I am a professional mastering engineer. That's what I do. All right. All right, I've got a Morpheus track. Right on.
I have memories going with you to place. I have stories, but I leave out your name. I have to say you're so cute when you're mad, but it's okay, I'm done with looking back. We had good times, I taught you something new. You had my mind, but I had something too. I had you alone in your room. I had you, it used to feel so new. And then look what you did, I was so smitten by you. Getting hard to breathe in, tell me what do I do? You have 2 hounds, you're the one they protect. You have a house full of junk you collect. You have a way of driving me mad. past is past. We had good times, I'll tell you something new. Oh, oh. You had my mind, but I had something too. I had you alone in your room. I had you, it used to feel so new. And then look what you did. I was so smitten by you, getting hard to breathe in. Tell me, what do I do?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
I had you alone in your room. I had you, it used to feel so new. And then look what you did. I was so smitten by you, getting hard to breathe in. Tell me, what do I do? I had you, I had you, I had you, I had you.
I mean, those were some I had yous. Up to you how many I had yous you want to have. People like repetition. Are you on headphones? I'm trying to remember what everyone's doing. You a headphone person? And undefeated. Yeah, you're 17 and it's all confusing. That's absolutely totally normal.